was the latest to leave that front for Michigan State. So it'll be Michigan State to receive as Indiana won the toss, elected to defer. And that in the back of the end zone. So the Spartans will come out with Aidan Chiles to begin things at their own 25. This is the 19th straight game he has started. He had a really good start to the season, but he got banged up in the Nebraska game, and last week he got hit in the third quarter of the UCLA game and really has not been the same. So he's been beat up. We might see Alessio Milivojevic, his backup, the third series or so. That's exactly what the coach has told us, but that could have changed by game time today. We will see. So Chiles gives it to Mekhi Frazier in the very first play of the game, and he is thrown back by that Indiana defense. So you got Chiles at quarterback, very talented, and then he's got some weapons to go to, namely Nick Marsh. He's one of the best receivers in the country. He had 7 catches in the loss to UCLA last week. And then up front, we've talked about a mix of guys up there. Redshirt freshman Rustin Young is at the right tackle position, making his first career start. So a loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Chiles just flips it over to Frazier. And this is not much happening at all. No gain, going to bring up 3rd down and long. Devin Boykin on the stop for Indiana.
And that's something we anticipate from Michigan State a lot in this game. You mentioned they're banged up on the offensive line. They don't like the matchups up there. A lot of screens. You know, Curt Cignetti talked about fast, physical, relentless. We're seeing that already by this defense. It's a swarm of red. They're all over the place.
Indiana defensive coordinator Brian Haynes and his team has been very impressive. Indiana has been very balanced on both sides, offense and defense. Some of the highest rankings in several categories in the country. Chiles needs 13, and a wide open man he's got across the 40, Omari Kelly. So that was a big pickup of 19 on 3rd and 13.
Let's start up here. That offensive line we just talked about. This is 3rd and extra long situation. The protection is clean for Chiles. And here comes Kelly on the big in cut. He could have made a ham sandwich in the backfield. Delivers a strike. Hard to make 3rd and 15 in college football. Big first down for the Spartans.
That's a good sign for this offense. By the way, Michigan State has scored on its opening possession 5 of the 6 games they've played, so they've gotten off to good starts. And this is another good carry by Elijah Tolliver, who gets close to midfield. Gain of 6, brought down by Lewis Moore. Indiana defense, we mentioned, is good. Leader of that defense is the leading tackler and one of the many who came over from James Madison with Cignetti, linebacker Aiden Fisher. And on the back end at corner is a guy by the name of D'Angelo Pons. He's 5'9", 173 pounds, who Cignetti calls my best football player. 2nd down and 4 from its own 48 on the opening drive for Michigan State. And they've got another first down, and it's Tolliver. And they're getting some good chunks now.
They sure are. Controlling the line of scrimmage. A lot of injuries up front. This is a zone play. They go this way, stretch and cut. Really good job. You can put this thing on the clinic reel here. See how he stretches it, finds the crease. Love how Tolliver's getting north and south. Tell you what, you make the big conversion on 3rd and extra long. Momentum is swung in this drive.
Good gain of 9 there. And into Hoosier territory. From underneath center, play action for Chiles. Deep downfield, a beautiful catch there by Kelly. Did he get a foot down? Pons was on the coverage. No, he did not. It was a heck of a catch, a heck of a try by Kelly, but that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
But that's how Michigan State wants to play. Run it, go play action, and try to work the receivers outside versus man-to-man coverage. Just missed there.
That is Tolliver in the backfield, well behind Chiles. They give it to him again. This time the Hoosier defense is there to meet him. Aiden Fisher for no gain.
Aiden Fisher is absolutely everywhere. You watch this guy on tape, he is something else now. You talk about key and diagnose, nose for a football. They don't block him. That's a bad idea. You better block number 4. He's going to make 50 tackles today. Okay, 3rd and long now. Big conversion the last time. Positive play here, potential field goal range. Just don't want to go backwards if you're Childs.
Childs, pass complete. And it's close to the first down. Nick Marsh on the reception.
They're on the ball. I think they're going to go for it. I think they're just short here, Hicksy. I like the call by Jonathan Smith. Throw the slant on 3rd and 10. Give yourself a chance. High percentage throw. See the size of Marsh running inside, making the contested catch.
Spartan offense is out there. 56,000 plus, trying to get a stop here on 4th and 1. Brendan Tullis, the big running back, is in behind Childs. He throws it out to the flat. They pick it up, and there is Nick Marsh with a good gain. So a good clutch 4th and 1 conversion and a gain of 10.
I love it. Get the ball to Marsh. He's outside here. Indiana wants to load up that box. Playing the quarterback sneak. Let's throw the quick screen. Nice job blocking on the perimeter. Marsh is a big physical guy. They want to get the ball in this guy's hands.
Got a reception in all 18 games as a Spartan. He had a good game in the loss to UCLA last week. And so another good opening drive here by Michigan State down to the Indiana 25. 10th play of this opening drive. Childs dancing around in the pocket, finally fires it down the sideline, incomplete. Omari Kelly was out there along with Amari Farrell for Indiana in coverage.
You know, as much as Michigan State has struggled the past 3 weeks, you said it at the outset, Hicksy, they've been really good on these opening drives. They scored on 5 of 6 of these opening drives this season. So the big conversion on 3rd and 15, they come back, they convert a 4th and 1. This is hard to do. This is the number 3 ranked team in the country. And they've had a rough week. Putting it behind them, responding the right way, they're knocking on the door.
Childs handles the high snap, and this is Tullis. And Tullis stopped at about the 22-yard line. And a flag is on the play.
False start, offense number 81. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that's going to be on the tight end, Michael Masunis.
You see Masunis right here. Again, crowd noise when you get down close to the red zone. There's fans all over the place. Interesting.
So 2nd down and 15 has it all the way back to the 30. Makai Frazier is back in there alongside Childs. And Childs goes out to Frazier, and the pursuit is right there for the Hoosiers. No gain. Boykin on the stop.
Hicksy, when you watch this Indiana defense play, they just play the right way. Watch the number of red shirts sprinting to the football. It's a clinic reel. They try to throw a little swing route, and then red shirt, red shirt, red shirt. You talk about leveraging. Leverage means force the ball back inside, and when you do that, you're going to get hit pretty hard. Defensive linemen, linebackers, safeties, knocking the heck out of Frazier.
So another 3rd and long for Michigan State. See if they can pick up this one as well. Pressure. Childs is able to get rid of it, and he's got it to Tullis, and Tullis is down to the 20-yard line. Still short of the first down by about 5 yards, so it'll bring up 4th and 5.
Here's Mikael Kamara right here. They're going to let him rush in these situations. Come get the quarterback. The back bluffs him. Get those big linemen out in front. So a lot of screens early on in this ball game. They recognize the mismatch they have up front. Really like the offensive coordinator, Jonathan Lindgren's plan so far.
Field goal unit on the field for Coach Jonathan Smith's team. Martin Connington, who's only missed 1 field goal this year, and that was a 56-yarder. Snap is good. Hold is good. And Michigan State again scores on its opening possession. Exactly what Jonathan Smith needed after his team has come in here on a 3-game losing streak against the 3rd-ranked Hoosiers. Michigan State 3, Indiana nothing in the early going. Tonight, don't miss an all-new Saturday Night Live with host and musical guest Sabrina Carpenter. It's all new SNL tonight. Watch it live coast to coast on NBC and Peacock. Now the meeting between Michigan State and Indiana, and the Spartans striking first on their longest drive of the season, which took up 6 minutes and 53 seconds. And Childs looked pretty good there.
He sure did. This guy is a really talented guy. He looks the part, can beat you so many different ways. Good to see him back out there healthy.
This is Connington's kick, headed into the end zone as Henby was back there to receive. And we will get our first look at Fernando Mendoza and the Indiana offense. Mendoza has just been electric since transferring from Cal after a couple of seasons out west. The 17 touchdown passes, ranks 4th in the country, and he's got some Heisman chatter that has revved up because he's been so good as he guides this Indiana offense, one of the highest scoring units in the country. And it'll be Mendoza with a plethora of weapons, mainly his big wideout Elijah Surratt and his featured back Roman Henby. And they come into the flats to Henby, but the Spartans are right there, and that is a beautiful tackle in pursuit by Jalen Thompson. Yeah, the Indiana offense, we mentioned Surratt, big target there for Mendoza, 7 touchdown receptions by him. That is tied for 2nd in the country. And up front, center Pat Coogan, the Notre Dame transfer, is the heart and soul of the offense, according to Mendoza. Vocal leader up there, having been the center all the way through the national championship game that Notre Dame played last year. 2nd and 12 after the loss of 2. Mendoza to the air for the first time. And that is a short gain there. It's complete to Henby. Maybe a yard. Joshua Eaton, the corner, on the stop for Michigan State.
Hey, first 2 snaps here for Michigan State on defense. You know, Joe Rossi, their defensive coordinator, after last week's performance, challenged these guys. You weren't playing hard enough. There wasn't enough energy. You weren't physical. Tell you what, first 2 snaps, pretty good.
Pass was incomplete, they're saying to Henby now. So on 3rd and 12, see what the Hoosiers can do in their first 3rd down and long test. Mendoza hangs in the pocket, delivers a strike. And that pass is complete to Jonathan Brady for a gain of 16. So Mendoza with a nice conversion.
Starts up there. The offensive line, these 3rd and extra long situations, keeping the pocket clean for these quarterbacks. Mendoza, 6'5", pure pocket passer, throwing the in cut to Brady. Big time conversion.
6'5", 225 pounds. That's why the NFL scouts love him. And that's why there's been a lot of chatter that Mendoza might be not just a first-round pick, but the #1 guy. This pass completing the flat to Omar Cooper at about the 45-yard line. Gain of 7.
Just a lot of different weapons for Indiana. Mendoza running the show, but they like to run the ball with Henby. We're going to get a chance to see Surratt. You see these different receivers stepping up, but it really starts up front. You mentioned Pat Coogan, the center. They control the line of scrimmage both in the run game and the pass game. Comfortable environment for Mendoza to play in.
And on 2nd down and 3, right up the middle for the first down into Michigan State territory. Gain of 6. Michigan State defense has been giving up a ton of points. There's Jordan Hall. He's the leading tackler and the captain of the Spartans. And in back, there's some good experience at both corners. Joshua Eaton is a 6th-year transfer who will help try and slow the Hoosier wideouts. So 1st and 10 from the Spartan 48. This pass complete. Another first down inside the 35-yard line goes E.J. Williams Jr.
Yeah, and this is how they play. Okay, go 4 by 1. Get all the receivers over here and come back and throw a slant back into the boundary. E.J. Williams, a big target, wins inside. Mendoza on the money one more time.
There goes Mendoza. He had most of the Michigan State defense fooled. Malcolm Bell got him not before a gain of 6.
So when you come into the game, if you're Michigan State, you say, do we need to stop Mendoza running the ball? That's the last thing you're thinking about. But every so often, he'll pull the ball. There'll be a quarterback draw, and just enough times to keep you honest. He's a big guy. He's sneaky athletic.
He says he models his game after Tom Brady.
Don't we all?
And
Dixie?
that's a good model to go by.
I modeled my game
But
after Brady.
we were watching film, and you actually said that he reminded you of Tom Brady, even before Fernando told us that. 2nd down and 5. Just enough mobility to get it to his tight end, Riley Nowakowski. And that's a gain of 8, so this Hoosier offense has suddenly revved up.
Yeah, Hicksy, it's a dangerous conversation to ever mention arguably the greatest player ever to walk in the same sentence with anybody else, but the stature.
Well, he wants to be like that.
Yeah, we all do. The stature of this guy, 6'5", pocket passer, clean stroke, good decision maker, all the things that Brady did better than anybody who ever played. He's a good model.
And that Indiana offensive line is beginning to open up some holes. That is Kalon Black with the carry and a gain of 7.
And this is how they play. It's not real flashy. It's not real fancy. Control the line of scrimmage. Efficient in the passing game. Run the ball down your throat. North-south runs. The runners are physical. They always finish forward. And before you know it, they're knocking on the door.
You saw that stat. They can churn up the yards on the ground. 4th in scoring. Their offense averaging 44.5 points a game. The pitch here on 2nd down and 3. Short of the 1st down goes Black. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, it's certainly 4-down territory for Cignetti. You're going to have 2 downs here, and if I'm him, you run it here on 3rd down. You trust that big offensive line and your runner. If you don't get it, run it again.
You can see the look on Cignetti's face. We talked to him yesterday, too. These are the types of games that gives a coach like Cignetti nightmares, right? He's like, we're reading all the clippings, everybody, you know, everything's going so great. 3rd and 2. Mendoza, soft roll to the right, finds his man, reaching for the end zone. For the touchdown is Williams.
This is what Mendoza does. It's a sprint out. You're going to have a guy in the flat and then a guy sitting right here. The flat's the first read. They cover him. He comes right back inside seamlessly. Bang! Right on him. Puts it right on EJ's face mask. Make sure he gets across. I don't think there. Oh, maybe the elbow before the ball crosses.
The ruling of the touchdown is under review.
It has to be clear and obvious, though, doesn't it, Hicksy?
We'll see it. Looked like that's going to be very hard to turn over, but
we don't have the shot right down the line. Reg, what do you think?
His elbow's down, but there's no telling where the ball is in relation to the goal line. Based on what we've seen, this should be upheld.
These views are fantastic, but they don't give you that shot down the line that the officials need. You got to start piecing it together. That's hard to do.
Look at the right elbow. That is down there.
My intuition is he's short, but I don't know if we have evidence enough to overturn it. Love this drive by Indiana, though. It's just what they do. They're so efficient. One more shot of Williams. You get the sense that he's a little short there. Elbows down. I'm not so sure the ball's across, but without the shot right down the line, it's tough to flip it over. We'll see. We got the Jeopardy music going, Hicksy.
It's at every stadium.
The ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
Just like we thought. So it's an 11-play, 75-yard methodical drive by Indiana to take the lead with 2:40 left in the opening quarter. So a couple of good drives by both teams, scoring on their opening possessions. And Niko Radicic comes in to try to make it a 7-3 Hoosier lead. Got it. So Indiana doing what it does under Curt Cignetti. Grind it out up the field. Opening drive. Mendoza has his 18th touchdown pass of the year.
John Fanta checking in with our first game break of the day. Let's go to Madison, number 1 team in the land, Ohio State visiting Wisconsin. 3rd and 11, you're probably thinking field goal. Julian saying other ideas. Carnell Tate with one of the best catches you will see. Hey, Dan and Jason, Indiana could be right behind Ohio State in the next AP top 25.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. They got to take care of business here first, John. That big win by Louisville over Miami last night. The Hurricanes in the number 2 position, but it's the last thing that a guy like Cignetti wants to hear about, right, Coach?
Yeah, it's about this play. Forget the last play. Certainly forget what anybody else is doing. Rip the rearview mirror off.
I mean, there's been so much hype after snapping Oregon's 18-game home winning streak last week at Oregon. 17 straight conference wins. He put an end to that, beat the defending Big Ten champs. And we are in Hoosier basketball country, but this is a different kind of 3 we're talking about. The Hoosiers ranked 3 in football, highest ranking ever. Last week, they beat Oregon at Oregon, and that was Indiana's first top 5 win since 1967. And in the 2 seasons under Curt Cignetti, who's kind of in a Gene Hackman-like pose there.
Norman Dale.
Indiana is 17-2, the most wins in any 2-year span in program history. It is hard indeed to compare it to any other short-range college football turnaround. This is Brandon Tullis in Michigan State with a 5-yard gain to start off their second drive of the game.
Michigan State doesn't care about any of that stuff. They got to focus on what they're doing, and from an offensive standpoint, they got to feel good about that first drive, and they're going to try to take pressure off of their offensive line throughout this game. One way to do it is try to hammer this Indiana defensive front running the football. Also just get the ball out of their hand. They did a good job on the first drive. Let's see if they can maintain that.
So the second series for Childs. We were told there was a possibility that we might see the backup in the 3rd series. But Childs has been pretty sharp. This one complete to his other tight end, Jack Velling. And a gain of 2.
3rd and short situation. You're back in your own territory, obviously, but it's about 1 yard. And one thing you love about Aidan Childs, he's a big, strong guy, 6'3", 225 pounds. You've seen him run some quarterback sneaks in these situations. Indiana's going to be loaded up. But remember, on the 4th and 1 earlier, they split the quick screen out to Marsh. See how they respond.
Less than a yard for Michigan State. And this is one of those designed runs by Childs, and look at him show his quickness there to quickly skirt out to the outside when it looked like he might get caught behind the line of scrimmage. Gain of 8, Childs turns it into.
Wow, quarterback run, you gain a guy. Watch this run by Aidan Childs. He starts over to the right-hand side, and we talked about the zone run game when you cut back. You anticipate your running back doing that, not necessarily your quarterback, but again, 225 pounds, fantastic athlete. 4-star quarterback coming out, went to Oregon State first, came here with Jonathan Smith, the head coach. A lot of talent right there, number 2.
He was electric early in the season, especially in that double overtime win over Boston College. When he's healthy, he can really turn the game around. Childs lofts this one up. Nice pass complete to Krishan McCray. D'Angelo Pons was in coverage, but not before they moved the chains again.
Really efficient here, and it starts with the running game, and then you go play action. You find McCray up the sidelines, and it looks like they're playing with some confidence. Looks like they're coming in here kind of cutting it loose a little bit against this Hoosier defense.
In the final seconds of the first quarter, a quick moving first quarter with both teams establishing good opening drives, and Michigan State on its second opening drive looking pretty good. Hoosiers riding high at number 3 in the country. Michigan State would love to spoil their homecoming. Overcast skies at Memorial Stadium as aerial coverage is brought to you by T-Mobile. End of the first quarter, Michigan State with we're trailing, I should say, 7-3, and Jason, this looks like a lot different Spartan team that has lost 3 in a row coming in here.
Yeah, if you're the head coach, Jonathan Smith, you're really pleased coming in here. Number 3 team in the country. You drove the ball right down the field on them. You made them work coming back the other way on offense, but now you're driving again. And more importantly, there's a spirit to this team today. They're competing. They're fighting. They got some guys back on defense. That certainly helps, but they're just playing with a different mentality and a mindset. Credit Jonathan Smith for getting them right.
Yeah, Jonathan Smith said it was a gut punch last week as they lost their homecoming game to UCLA 38-13 for their latest of 3 in a row. They gave up 38 consecutive points in the game. Jalen Berger, the UCLA running back, after the game says, I thought they gave up in the 3rd quarter and didn't want to play anymore. So there was some pretty harsh words thrown at Jonathan Smith's team.
The film was bad, Hicksy. It was bad. The effort, the hustle, the fight, the determination, and that's not what Jonathan Smith's programs have been all about. So there was a wake-up call this week, and they've responded the right way.
No, the heat has been turned up in East Lansing, that is for sure, but they can turn it down with a good showing here today. Good second drive going for Michigan State to start the 2nd quarter, and Childs will begin it with a pass out to Tau Tolliver. It's another big gain. Tau Tolliver has been a big part of this offense. Gain of 23
yeah,
there.
Huge part of it. Play action, throw the screen to the back. One more time. All the red shirts chasing Childs, a big convoy out in front. Tau Tolliver knows what to do. Look at Childs in the pocket here. He's taking a hit here, but getting that ball out. They've run a half a dozen screens already, big part of the plan. Indiana has to adjust to it. They have to understand he's going to try to get the ball out. Maybe slow down that rush a little bit. More control.
Play clock down to 1, so they just get it off, and they lose 3 yards. Mikhail Kamara got in there behind the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Zora.
You all mentioned the spirit of the Spartans. Michigan State really wanted to improve its energy and demeanor on the sidelines this week. Receiver Nick Marsh told me after losing 3 straight, some guys just had their heads down. Marsh said during a team talk this week, everyone took a deep breath and worked to get back on the same page. You're seeing it so far.
Won their first 3, lost their first 3 conference games. Last year, Michigan State failed to reach a bowl game for the 3rd straight year. So there is a sense of urgency. 2nd and 13, Childs trying to tightrope his way down the sidelines as Nick Marsh, gain of 9, sets up 3rd down.
Yeah, like the decision by Childs. You get a single outside to Marsh, give him the ball. Now it's 3rd and manageable. Again, you're in the red zone. You don't want to go backwards here in this situation. But if you're Jonathan Smith coming in here, Bloomington, Indiana, 4-down territory. I say go for all these things.
What do you think about a Childs design run here in the mix?
Yeah, I say run here. Looks like they got their big people up there. It's going to be run inside or hard play action pass.
Childs under center. That is Frazier behind him. And he gives it to him. And Frazier going to be tough. Stop short. That'll bring up 4th and short, about a yard. Hosea Wheeler in on the coverage there for Indiana.
Something I'm really impressed so far in this game on both sides of just how physical the fronts are, how physical the runners are, how physical the tackling is. Okay, now we're inside a yard. Still got the big people out there. Remember earlier when they went for it on 4th down, they loaded it up. Childs threw the quick screen to Marsh. I could see them do a similar situation called a run pass option. Childs likes the look, hand it off. If not, spit the ball out.
Call it a yard and a half. And we got a timeout for Michigan State. And we will step aside on 4th down and short for the Spartans. Coach, all 4th downs not created equal.
Yeah, 4th and inches is the same as 4th and almost 2. They call it 4th and 1. Well, it's not the same. This is almost 2 yards here. I still like the call to go for it here just because you have Childs, who's such a threat in the quarterback run. You can give him a lot of options. If you like the look, you can hand it, you can run it, maybe you can spit the ball out. I bet he hands the ball off here based on the look he's getting from Indiana. Here comes pressure.
Indiana showing it. Childs going to keep it, and is he going to get there? I don't think he did. He tried to reach for it at the last second. Isaiah Jones was in there as a lot of red jerseys came in there and converged.
Fast, physical, relentless. That's what Cignetti wants. It's a hit. It's a turn.
There's a reach right
he
there.
Reached, no doubt. I think it's a first down.
And they gave it to him.
I like the call. They were showing a shell look, and then they brought pressure, and Aidan Chiles ran right into the pressure. Ran over Bones Jones, extends the ball, first down, knocking on the door.
Big down, big time fourth down conversion. Ball at the 16 now. As Chiles was able to just reach across and move the chains, keep the drive alive. This time it's going to be a loss for Brandon Tullis.
Pixie, when you watch the game, watch it from the side. When you see the red shirts knocking the white shirts back on a consistent basis, it's going to be tough sledding. And here's the example right here. Watch these guys get up the field. It's just hard to run. The penetration, the get off, they're moving the line of scrimmage back 2 and 3 yards. The runners don't have a chance.
Second drive of the game for Michigan State. Both teams scored in their opening possessions. Indiana with a 7-3 lead and another impressive drive by the Spartans. Second down and 12 then. Chiles stands in, drifts to his left, flags in the backfield. Chiles has some running room, gets flipped inside the 10, but we'll check on the flag.
That's what Chiles can do. You're probably going to get a holding penalty here.
Holding. Offense, number 58. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And the hold is indeed on the left tackle, Connor Moore.
Yeah, the veteran. It's a double-edged sword. A quarterback who can run and extend plays. It certainly helps the offensive line, but sometimes can hurt him. You never know where he is. Wyatt rushing inside. You see that left hand grabs the pad, pulls him down. Easy call for the official.
Nonetheless, Michigan State putting together the 2 longest drives time-wise on the season against Indiana. So that is a good sign for Michigan State. From the gun on second and 22, Chiles trying to pick a lot of it up, and he's got a lot of it with Krishan McCray. But that's going to bring up third down after a gain of 14.
That's where Chiles has improved. Second and extra long. Let's cut it in half. Gets the ball out to McCray. Now you make it third and manageable. In these situations, we've seen a lot of different things from Indiana. The one thing you will see, though, is disguise. If they're going to bring pressure, it's going to look like zone. If they're showing pressure, they'll probably drop out of it. Chiles has to be good after the snap, figuring out what Indiana's doing.
They were good early on the third down conversions, but they've missed the last 3.
Showing man-to-man.
Chiles, quick drop, pass complete, first down and more. How about a touchdown by Nick Marsh? Michigan State scoring on its first 2 drives, field goal and then the strike to Marsh.
Absolutely love it. It's man-to-man look, and then they drop into zone. You see these guys going deep. There's a big hole right here. Just throw the ball to Marsh on a slant route. Big crease inside. Too easy.
Marsh with his 5th touchdown of the season. And Michigan State grabs the lead back. Connington to make it a 3-point lead for the Spartans. First drive was just under 7 minutes. This one went 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Aidan Chiles looking good in the first 2 series, connecting to his favorite target, Nick Marsh, for Michigan State's first touchdown of the game. Big Ten Saturdays being brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by Ford Blue Cruise. Homecoming weekend here at Indiana. Beautiful fall day, a little warmer than you might expect on the 3rd Saturday of October. Homecoming parade, pep rally were held yesterday. Lots of smiles yesterday, some concern today as Michigan State has come in here in a 3-game losing streak and has taken a 10-7 lead as Indiana will come out to begin its latest series at the 25-yard line. And all sorts of great activities happening on homecoming weekend. None better than this. That is Dr. Phyllis Grant, who turns 100 years old at the end of this month. She has been an Indiana football season ticket holder for 76 years.
That is great.
So she can tell you about the history and all the low times that Indiana football has gone through. And at the age of 100 at the end of the month, she has watched her team attain the highest ranking in its football history.
1949 was her first year as a season ticket holder. A couple years ago.
1st and 10 for Mendoza, and Hemby, and Roman Hemby goes nowhere. 2nd down and 10.
If you're Jonathan Smith in Michigan State, you feel awfully good about how this game has gone. You have the long drive for a field goal to start the game. Okay, Indiana comes back and they score a touchdown, but then you get it again. And the best way to stop Fernando Mendoza in this Indiana offense is have him stand on the sidelines next to Cignetti and make those faces that Cignetti's making. And so you keep him here, you limit his opportunities. So the formula for success in beating this team, they're playing it out the right way.
Yeah, and the big key that Joe Rossi was telling us, we want to get him those 3rd and long situations, not the 3rd and short. And this is a 1st down pickup to E.J. Williams, who earlier had the touchdown toss for Mendoza. Again, a 19 for him. Malcolm Bell in the coverage.
Hicksy starts up front. Watch this protection. Okay, Mendoza standing back there. He said he likes to model himself after Tom Brady. That's what Brady looked like. Remember, he would just stand in the pocket and wait and wait and wait. E.J. Williams, a big part of this plan early on. Mendoza's on the money.
First and 10 from its 44. And they've got him in the backfield. Hemby for a big loss. And that is Quindarius Dunnigan.
Again, this Michigan State defense was challenged by their defensive coordinator, Joe Rossi. Watch him right here on the end. He slips the tackle inside and then just gets up the field. So now Indiana behind the sticks here, 2nd and extra long. Look for Mendoza to try to find a high percentage throw here to make a 3rd manageable.
Rossi's defense ranks in the bottom 5 in nearly every statistical category in the Big Ten Conference. But his team has been playing with a renewed enthusiasm. This is a nice dodge of the tackle by Nowakowski, who goes up the sidelines for a huge gain before Malik Spencer finally upends him after a gain of 38.
You're asking me one guy who embodies this Indiana football culture is this guy right here, Riley Nowakowski, 6'1" tight end. He does all the dirty work, doesn't always look the part, gives him a hip, takes it away, getting north and south and finishing the run. Big time conversion by Indiana.
All the way down to the Michigan State 24. Mendoza with a deep drop, complete to Surratt. Surratt with a move, gets to the goal line for the touchdown. Beautiful move by Surratt to finish off the 24-yard touchdown reception.
Yeah, just a drag route by Surratt. Again, protection is clean. Clear it out down the field. Get the ball to this guy. James Madison transfer. Came over here with Cignetti. And he, too, represents what this program is all about. Productive guy. You're throwing the ball, good things happen. A little move here. They must be working on that cutback move, Hicksy.
Well, Morian Smith had a chance at him, but Surratt had him grasping at air. So, Cignetti, still no smiles. There won't be until this one's in the books, but it's very early as Indiana comes back to take the lead, 14-10.
Let's check back in on that top 10 SEC showdown in Athens, Georgia, with a 3rd and 8. Gunner Stockton to an all-name team member. Lawson Lucky's there for the score. Dogs go up 3 on Ole Miss. Dan and Jason.
Thank you, John. Good one between the hedges and a good one here at Memorial Stadium. Sellout crowd. They didn't always sell out football games here at Memorial Stadium, but not until Cignetti right. Is that him on the left or the right?
How good is that?
Oh, I got the look-alike there. He's got the cards, the whole thing going.
Imitation, finest form of flattery.
That's right. You know you've made it when you've got the students or people in the stands imitating you. He's got to, he's got to get all those one-liners that Cignetti has made famous, right?
Cignetti is priceless now. We had such a good meeting with him, and I can't tell you how impressed I am. We laugh about the Google me, I win. He does win. IUP, Elon, James Madison, everywhere he goes, he turns it around. And not only does he turn around, he turns it around in year 1. And this transformation here of the Indiana football program is historic. I love the guy.
So Michigan State trying to answer Indiana's latest touchdown. Childs is in here on this third series, and he's got his pass complete to Jack Velling for a gain of 3. Zora.
When looking to rebuild this Indiana football program, Athletic Director Scott Dolson studied other historical basketball schools and their approach to reviving football programs. Think Duke, Kansas, Kentucky. Dolson told me he made a list and Coach Cignetti checked every box. That list included a QB guru, head coaching experience. Dolson said he asked Coach, if you come here, do you feel like you could win? Cignetti said, if I have average resources, I will win.
He's won everywhere he's gone, and he's won right away, Zora. That has been the formula for Cignetti. And this is a nice move by McCray, turning more yards in after the catch. Gain of 8, first down.
It's amazing. He has all those sayings, and we had a good visit with him yesterday. He talks about all the different things you need to do. It's about people and standards and accountability and all of that. In the middle of the conversation, I just said to him, so many people say that. Everybody has that jargon that you use about how you build a program, but you do it. What's the special sauce? And he just says, hey, we make them do it. We make them do it. We get the right people in here, and then it starts building on itself, and he's something else.
Childs has been red hot through the air, avoids the pressure behind him, goes right across the middle, and connects with Kelly. And Omar Kelly with a big game before Pons drags him down.
Biggest surprise for me is how this Michigan State offensive line has been holding up. We've seen this a number of times in the game. Love how he gets up in the pocket, push the rusher around, and they've been finding these in cuts time and time again. And so if you ask me coming into the game, it's a mismatch up front. Indiana defensive line, Michigan State banged up offensive line. I'll tell you what, the Spartan group is holding up.
Childs is 15 of 17 for 157 yards. It's been a new and improved Aiden Childs in this game for sure. Indiana's defense on the first down and 10 call. Not much of a gain at all as Aiden Fisher helps close the gap.
Keep going back to Brian Lindgren, the offensive coordinator for Michigan State, and the plan and the approach. They're on the ball now using a little tempo.
Childs avoiding the pressure. Pass is complete to Mekhi Frazier. And he maybe gets a couple. And that'll bring a third down.
Yeah, continuing to attack different ways, and tempo's a big part of it. Get on the ball and get Indiana on their heels. You get it back to a 3rd and reasonable. It's about 3rd and 7 right now. And again, the big thing against this Indiana defense is disguise. Whatever Childs sees initially, he's not going to get it after the snap. So he has to be smart, see what they're doing after the snap, and be a good decision maker.
They need to get to the Hoosier 31.
Showing pressure. I bet they back out.
On 3rd and 7. Looping it on the outside, and good pursuit by Indiana. Isaiah Jones led the charge, and that is a loss of 1 for Frazier.
They're just so fundamentally sound on defense. You hear coaches say this all the time. You have to set edges. You have to be in your gap. You have to pursue the ball. Okay, Pounds outside, turns the ball back inside, and there's the pursuit. Bones Jones knocking him back, and we got a 4th and 9 here. Hard for me to believe they're going to go for it in this situation. I bet they're trying to get him to jump off sides. Quick kick.
That's it. Childs just got to step back and just boots it, trying to angle it, and it goes into the end zone. Nice job by Childs. Just kind of pushed it out there, but it goes into the end zone, and we'll see Indiana's offense when we return. Another great day in college football as we take a look at our upcoming schedule presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Tonight it's Penn State versus Iowa, 7 Eastern time, streaming only on Peacock. We know they've got a new interim coach as they search for a permanent guy. And then it's one of the great classics in college football. USC Notre Dame, huge stakes on the line at Notre Dame Stadium, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC and Peacock. Little threat of weather we understand in South Bend. We have a band of thunderstorms off on the edge of Bloomington, but so far so good here as Fernando Mendoza, who played for Cal for 3 seasons before transferring over here to Indiana and having Cignetti kind of fine-tune his quarterback skills. He said it's been an absolute pleasure to have that kind of coaching. And he starts off this drive with a beautiful pass to Omar Cooper. 24 yards from Mendoza to Cooper.
Just love Mendoza's calm and poise in the pocket, and when you block these guys up front as well as this offensive line does, it's a real comfortable environment. But they're a disciplined team, very good route running team. The timing, anticipation, watch where the ball gets located time and time again. It's always on the face mask. He loves throwing to Cooper in the slot.
Had a good visit with Mendoza. And he said one of the things that Cignetti worked with him, especially when he first got here, was footwork. Cignetti said he needed a lot of work on that, but he's cleaned it up. This pass complete to Cooper. And for a gain of 2 as we've reached the 2-minute timeout of the opening half. Quick moving first half. Indiana getting a test here from the underdogs, Michigan State, leading 14-10.
Just up the road in South Bend, Notre Dame USC tonight. Is this the whole season for the Irish?
I think it is. Both teams, they lose this game, they're out of the college football playoff.
Talk about that and much more coming up on the Xfinity Halftime Report. Dan?
Thanks, Ahmed. As Indiana tries to stay clean as well. Ben Roberts, the guy that made the play in the last play as we went to break, came off hobbling, so he's being helped off. Ben Roberts, the defensive tackle there, who did not play last week, so that's not good news as he was back in the lineup. So 2nd down and 8. Mendoza to the air and trying to get the first down is Cooper. And he does.
Yeah, 2-minute situation here, Hicksy. You know, plenty of time here. You're under 2 minutes, but you got 3 timeouts. You're across the 50. They're still going to be on the ball, but Mendoza can be really patient.
Mendoza standing in there, buying a little time. And then throwing to the sidelines, incomplete. Intended for Nowakowski. That was Malcolm Bell who put a hit as the ball was arriving.
Bell did a good job keeping his eyes on the quarterback, coming off of his receiver and then going to make a play and knocking it out. And you see where Mendoza is so much more comfortable in the pocket than he is out in space.
A couple of experienced corners for Michigan State. We mentioned Joshua Eaton at the top. Malcolm Bell, graduate transfer from UConn, started the last 5 games. Very experienced in that secondary. And we've got a timeout called by the Hoosiers. Stops the clock with 1:46 to go as Indiana looks for more before the first half expires. So we're going to take a break and be right back to Memorial Stadium where the Hoosiers up by 4. NBA tips off a new era on NBC and Peacock. Rockets Thunder, and then the Warriors Lakers Tuesday on NBC and streaming on Peacock. They've won some titles here in Bloomington. Look inside Assembly Hall. They've got 5 banners hanging up over there. We get a chance to walk over there yesterday, Coach. Kind of take in that atmosphere. There's Assembly Hall. You can see it from our perch up here across the way.
Legendary place. 76 team, undefeated, right?
Which makes this turnaround for football even more impressive for Cignetti coming in here in a downtrodden Indiana football program and doing what he's done. Low snap for Mendoza on 2nd down and 10. He picks it up and gets close to the first down to about the 35-yard line.
And if you're Mendoza, you just got to be aware of the situation now. You're still in the 2-minute mode. It's 3rd down. It's 3rd and short. Anticipate this being 4-down territory. They can take their time. You got 2 timeouts. Clock's pause on a 1st down. So you have a lifetime. This is a big down, though. Looks like man-to-man coverage.
3rd and a couple for Mendoza. Looks right quickly, and he's behind his receiver, Surratt. 4th and 2.
Interesting decision here for Cignetti. I bet he goes for it. You're on the fringe of field goal range. But they stop them here. Michigan State has plenty of time coming back the other way.
And they want to talk about it.
Yeah. Not quite so automatic in this situation where you give Michigan State another opportunity before the half. I would anticipate after they talk, they're going to go for it.
This has been impressive by Michigan State, Coach. The most yards versus the Hoosier defense in the first half this season. Oregon 203, Michigan State has 180 yards. So
I think the last line is as important as any. You know, the time of possession. Not only are they moving the ball, but they're keeping the ball. Mendoza on the sidelines with Cignetti. This is only their third possession. Now, Indiana's cashing in on them. They've scored 2 touchdowns, but limit their opportunities. Make a stop on a play like this. All of a sudden, you flip the momentum of the ball game.
Indiana has never lost at home in the early career here for Cignetti, 12-0. And trying to keep this drive alive late in the first half here with a 14-10 lead over Michigan State. A 4-touchdown underdog.
Looks like man-to-man.
Keelan Black standing next to him will provide some blocking for Mendoza. He's going to try to pick it up through the air, and he does. He's got Cooper for a gain of 7. Clutch play.
Okay, now they're on the ball. Clock will pause. Ball came out a little funny. Cooper finished it.
Right up the middle. Big gain. All the way to the touchdown goes Black. So they pick up the 4th down, and then Black takes it 29 yards to the house.
You don't think these games come down to single plays? You convert it on 4th down. Tell you what, this Black, he comes in this game. Every time he touches the ball, he seems to make an explosive play for Indiana.
Another one of those mini transfers from James Madison, where Cignetti had all that success before coming here to Indiana. And that is Radicic, who tacks on the extra point to make it 21-10 with just under a minute left.
It's a great change of pace back for them. You mentioned it. JMU transfer. There's 7 of them. Surratt, the wide receiver, also from JMU. He scored the last touchdown. It starts up front. Line of scrimmage. The red shirts controlling the white shirts. And this Black has some juice and acceleration. The best runners have a burst through the line of scrimmage. See how he gets to the second level? The angles by the linebackers and the safeties, he runs right through them. He's a big, strong guy. It's a huge play for Indiana. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns in this ball game. Cignetti cracking a little bit of a smile.
A little wink.
I saw the wink.
And, well, there's the imposter. You got to work on that wink.
The imposter's pretty good, though. You got to admit.
By the way, whistle comes in or stops this play as the ball came off. Got some winds kind of swirling around there down with this weather on the perimeter of Bloomington. And there, as he was coming in, Brandon Frankie had to tee it up again.
Here comes Cooper. He's going to hold it for him. This guy does it all.
This time he gets some big time leg in it. He usually does. Frankie is so good. 41 of 44 of just touchbacks into the end zone for Cignetti.
Big opportunity here for Michigan State now. 59 seconds. You got 2 timeouts. You got to hold serve. You got to be able to drive the ball and get some kind of points going into halftime. And the way this offensive line has performed in their protection game, really impressive so far. I would anticipate them still using the screen game, whether it's screen games outside or screen to the back, to try to neutralize this Indiana rush.
You saw a look at the ominous skies overhead Memorial Stadium. We've been lucky to get this whole first half in so far with 59 seconds left. So the threat of weather remains as Michigan State tries to put something on the board here. Childs with a nice look off goes underneath to Frazier. Mikhail Kamara on the stop there for Indiana. Gain of 4.
Been pretty effective all day long. The screen game just to get the 2-minute drive started.
Childs, quick drop, quick strike. Pass complete. First down to Nick Marsh.
Looks like they might have spotted him just short of the first. I think we're going to get a third inside of 1 here. This gets a little tricky now because you got to convert this thing. Do not see this as 4-down territory at all.
You're right, it is short. Guys on the far side were moving a little bit too early.
Mechanics are big here. If you convert this thing, get back on the ball because the clock will pause once you make a first down.
They give it to Frazier, and he's got the first down. Clock will stop. 33 seconds momentarily after the gain of 3 by Frazier.
Still got 2 timeouts, plenty of time. You can throw the ball anywhere.
And they wind the clock. 2 timeouts left for the Spartans. Down by 11. Childs just drifting out. Just a short little pass to Frazier. He tries to turn it into something else. And they do get the timeout short of the first down. A gain of 9 for Frazier.
You get in those situations where you say, hey, is it worth it to complete that ball? In the end, it was. You make 9 yards. You get yourself out to the middle of the field. It's a good timeout by Jonathan Smith here. So you probably need another 20 yards to feel really good about kicking a field goal here. You have the timeout. Again, it pauses after you make a first down. I'd make sure I continue to use Aiden Childs' legs. Okay, move him out of the pocket, get the quarterback run going. Use Indiana's aggressiveness against them.
Saw Connington there. He kicked a 38-yard field goal to start the scoring of the game. And he's got a good leg. And if they were to attempt a field goal, it is downwind. But we'll see if it gets to that.
They've had a lot of success throwing the ball in the middle of the field, those deep in cuts. So if this offensive line can hold up, look for these receivers to work that intermediate area behind the linebackers.
Second down and 1, 19 seconds left. Childs surveying, pass complete, and it is a first down.
Get on the ball.
To Tal Tolliver.
Clock pauses. Get on the ball quickly. Save the timeout. I think you banged the timeout.
Yep, they did.
Right there is a great example of why Indiana is a good football team. The ball gets checked down, and they're just a sure tackling team. They just do an excellent job with the fundamentals of the game. How many times have you seen this? You throw the ball to the back. He breaks a tackle in this situation and makes a big play. Not this time. Pons, the corner, 173 pounds. Cignetti calls him his best player. You come up, put it on the clinic reel. Get the runner to the ground, force them to call a timeout. Changes the whole complexion of the drive.
Yeah, Cignetti couldn't talk enough about Pons, what he's meant to this team. And if you're with us last week, C.J. Bailey, the quarterback, NC State, passed to a guy by the name of Jeremiah Smith on a Chaminade High School team in Miami, and Pons was also on that team.
He sure was.
Talk about some talent down there in the Miami area.
They won 3 state championships. Easy to see why.
Okay, 1st and 10. More importantly, 12 seconds left. Michigan State out of timeouts.
Use the sideline here. Get the ball out of your hand into the flat.
Childs is in trouble. He's going to go down. Last thing that needed to happen for Michigan State.
Let it go.
And that is going to do it.
That's Stephen Daly. Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, said Daly's arguably the best athlete they have in their entire program. Number 8, 273 pounds, split in the double team, just chasing them down. Tell you what, these guys know how to play football.
Yeah, he calls
fast, physical, relentless. That's how they play.
Calls Daly a genetic freak. Let's go down to Zora.
Coach, Michigan State came out moved.
Your thoughts on Mendoza after you saw him for the first time kind of up close?
Love him. Love him. I believe the hype. I think he's smart. He's a football guy. He's an excellent decision maker. He's big. He's sneaky athletic. Excellent arm. Consistent stroke. He's played awfully well.
And we'll get a chance to see Fernando first as we check in with Zora.
Yeah, Dan, Michigan State head coach Jonathan Smith said controlling the clock gave them a fighting chance in that first half, and so they're going to have the same approach in the second. One thing he really wants to work on is tackling and adding the run game to the offense. He really is impressed with Aiden Childs' efficiency so far.
Thank you, Zora. Indiana trying to put together its 13th straight win at home under Cignetti. And they start from the 25 with a 21-10 lead. And right to the air goes Mendoza, and a nice big chunk of yards. And they're going to mark him. Yep, he's going to pick up a first down. Surratt for a gain of 12.
You know, we talked about the James Madison guys. That's where Cignetti came from. And last year he brought 13 JMU guys here to Indiana. This year they got 7 guys, and they happen to be some of the best players they have. Surratt, awfully good outside, just the ultimate playmaker for their team. Makes a lot of little plays, a lot of big plays.
And this is a big play as Mendoza gets hung up there for a gain of 3. Made some good gains in the first half. We'll see what kind of running skills Mendoza displays in this second half.
I was really intrigued to talk to Cignetti about how he built this program, and a lot of transfers, but a lot of transfers from smaller schools. Productive players at lower levels came here, most of them from James Madison, but from a lot of other places. And he's been an architect of this program over the last year and a half. It's been impressive.
Gain of 3 for Fernando. Second down and 7. Just shy of its own 40. Mendoza near side. Ball batted down. That was some close coverage there on Omar Cooper by Dontavius Nash. And the flag comes in.
Pass interference, defense number 28. The ball will be placed to the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Cooper's an excellent route runner. You see him, he's getting separation coming out. Pretty easy call for the official. Whenever you tug that cloth, they're going to call it every time. But number 3 is a hard guy to cover in that slot. He just is quick. He's got excellent change of direction. Nash was out of position. Through the call.
By the way, Ben Roberts, number 55, is back in the Michigan State defense up front there. So that's good news for the Spartans as the Hoosiers try to bang ahead here. That is Hemby maybe getting one.
What's been really interesting to me about both these teams in the first half is very few possessions, long drives, but neither team ran the football very well. That's the 10th carry for Indiana on offense. They have not made a ton of yards running it, and neither has Michigan State. It's just the efficiency of each team's passing game. That's what's led these drives.
Yeah, Hemby's been basically non-existent as far as a rush gainer. Down the middle, Mendoza's right on the mark for a touchdown. Omar Cooper Jr. That one good for 48.
Yeah, this is what they do. You'll see Cooper from the left-hand side. He comes down into motion. You roll that thing, runs right through the middle of the defense. Does an excellent job getting back inside of the defender. And this is what's most impressive about Mendoza. He sees it, he rips it, and the ball is right there. If you're going to walk it out there, you place it in the exact same spot. Big time.
So Cooper has one along with Surratt. 3 touchdown passes now for Mendoza, and this lead has been lengthened in the opening 2 minutes of the second half. Indiana has opened up an 18-point lead. This time just a 4-play 75-yard drive, capped off by Mendoza to Cooper as the Hoosiers are rolling here in the second. Big Ten Saturday is being brought to you by Genesis Motor America. Learn more at genesis.com. Big trophy game. It marks the 67th time Michigan State and Indiana play for the chance to hoist the old brass spittoon. And there is Curt Cignetti hoisting it for the very first time with that win on the road in East Lansing last year. In fact, last 5 games in this series, the home team has lost. Indiana doing its part here to turn that around. Up 28-10 with an impressive minute and 51-second drive there to start the second half, Coach.
Yeah, let's go back to the touchdown here. Surratt comes down into motion, and he eats up the safety. Safety gets out of the way. The corner, West, finds himself outside. That's what gives Cooper a chance to run up and run the post. It's really well done. Eat up the safety, get inside leverage on the outside leverage playing corner, and I'll tell you what, Mendoza sees it, rips it, and puts it exactly where it needs to go. You see the quickness of Cooper, able to shake and recapture that inside leverage and just run away from West. Big time.
Beautiful pass there by Mendoza for his 20th touchdown pass of the season. So we'll see if Childs and company can come back. On his first series, Childs is hung up in there, tries to get a yard out of it, but that is all. Play never got off the ground as the protection just broke in on him.
Yeah, easy to see the design there. Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator. Let's start bringing some pressure, and let's start making this guy uncomfortable in the pocket. 20 out of 22 in the first half. Okay, we got to change this throwing platform. We got to make him work in the pocket a little bit more. Free rushers all around Childs. That's a rough down.
They give him a yard, maybe it was a half gain, so second down and long. Childs calmly comes back, and he picks up the first down with his favorite target, Marsh. Nick Marsh.
Yeah, been impressed by the decision-making of Childs and his ability to deliver the ball on time and accurately. And Marsh is clearly his favorite receiver. Whenever he's by himself one-on-one, Childs is going there. And the issue for Michigan State right now is they've moved the ball. They've had success on offense. They haven't cashed in enough. They have to stay poised, continue to drive the ball like they've driven it throughout the ball game, and just get one score at a time.
Catches racking up again for Marsh. He had 7 catches last week in a loss to UCLA. He's up to that same number. As Childs gives it to Elijah Tolliver. Gain of 1.
Yeah, Nick Marsh, clearly Childs' favorite receiver, and he does so many different things. This is a slant versus press coverage, a very easy catcher. They do a good job trying to get him quick screens. You see the physical nature that he has, running with the ball after the catch. Smooth on the quick out, smooth on the slant. Childs loves throwing it to him.
Marsh already 7 catches, 64 yards, and the touchdown. Childs. 2nd and 9. Pass complete. Near side. Tight end Michael Masunis.
Just been impressed with Childs early on in the season. Really, really good. The first 3-4 games. Last couple weeks has not been as good. Was out of rhythm. Didn't feel comfortable in the pocket. Just seemed under duress a lot. And he's been really good in his decision making. Got 3rd and short here. 4-down territory for Michigan State.
And they're going to try to run it. Nothing there. And reverses his field, Frazier. And it's going to bring up 4th down. Bunch of Hoosiers up front there. Aiden Fisher.
Fisher always seems to be around the football. Here he is right in the middle of your screen. Excellent job forcing the run back inside, and then just a swarm of red shirts. When you're coaching defensive football, that's what you stop the film and you say, look at all these guys. We have 7 guys around the ball. That's how this defense plays. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Smith is going for it here. It's 4th and a healthy 2. Look for Aiden Childs to run it.
Ball right at midfield here. 56,000 plus looking for a stop here to take over on downs. Childs with some time. Pass complete. He's got the first down. And that's Omari Kelly who hauls it in for a gain of 16.
Yeah, these slot receivers are showing up for these quarterbacks. It's Kelly inside. This is just a corner route. Stems down inside. Comes back out. Protection clean. Childs comfortable out there and delivers a strike one more time. Passing game much better than I thought it was going to be against this Indiana defense.
No kidding. 23 of 25. Childs. He's just been looked like a totally different quarterback than the last couple of games. Sets up the screen here, and this time Jack Billings got nowhere to go.
Love the call, but you can see the adjustment by Indiana. Halftime, they said, okay, they're going to keep mixing in these screens. And you see the defensive line, they do a good job. They're rushing, but they sense it a little bit more. It's just not breakneck at the quarterback. Okay, they let me go by. Now have a little poise, go back and make the play. Those screens are drying up a little bit.
That's what Brian Lindgren, the offensive coordinator for Michigan State, told us. We may have some openings in the screen game, and we've seen him try to take some of those, but Indiana showing some good D here. Try to stop this drive. Here's Childs on the move again. He's up to about the 31-yard line. A gain of 2. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 8, but again, I think you have to view these as 4-down territory. You know, you're down 18, halfway through the 3rd quarter. So the reason I bring it up now is your 3rd down call is very different if you know that you're going to go for it on 4th down. You can run the ball in this situation. Quarterback can take a check down in this situation. So have that in the forefront of your mind and be a good decision maker here.
Childs calmly looking downfield. Pass is broken up, and a good play there by D'Angelo Pons. Showing some of those skills and impressed the coaches so much for Indiana.
Yeah, Cignetti said that Pons is his best football player. JMU transfer, came over from James Madison. He just has a knack. He's
Sticky
short.
Coverage.
Yeah, he's short. He's 5'9", but he's got long arms. He's an excellent athlete. Anticipation and timing to knock that ball out.
This is going to be a 50-yard attempt by Martin Connington. He's got a big leg. In fact, he made a 50-yarder on the first play of his career for Michigan State earlier in the season against Boston College. Snap good, hold good. Looks like he got a good leg into it, but it's no good. Just wide right for Connington from 50.
Snap, hold, kick. Drifting.
Was trying to draw in.
It's like me, always pushing it right.
So, Cignetti, no points for the Spartans. So the reason why the Mendoza story is so good this year for Indiana is that it involves a couple of Mendozas. Followed Indiana football. You know that Fernando came here much for the suggestion of his younger brother Alberto Mendoza, who was on the team. And when Fernando was looking around to maybe look at some other places to play besides Cal, his brother said, you're going to like Cignetti. You're going to like this Indiana football culture that we have going here. And it's the first time that those two guys have played on the same team since high school. And so it's a great story. They call it a healthy competition because, hey, if anything happens to Fernando, it's younger brother Alberto who will get some time. And he's already gotten some time this year as the understudy for Alberto. Or for Fernando, I should say. And Big Brother has been showing the way right now. He has just been red hot. Quick hit there to Williams.
You know, we talked to Fernando about this yesterday, and I said, you know, what was the dinner table conversation like? You're going to transfer from Cal, younger brother's at Indiana. I'm going to transfer to Indiana and go compete for the starting job there. And, you know, they just talked it all through. I think Alberto, the younger brother, was convinced that Cignetti was going to bring in a transfer quarterback who had more experience anyway, so why not his brother?
On the ground, right up the middle for the first down. Indiana putting together another impressive drive. There they are. Looks like they're sleeping outdoors in a tent somewhere. Their parents, even though they had an extra room, made them stay in the same room. They wanted the guys to be close, and they were. Fernando and Alberto back in the day playing Pop Warner football. And
down there in South Florida, down in Miami.
And here we are all these years later. That's another reason why this Indiana turnaround and Hoosier football story is a good one. Not the latest first down. Off the middle for a couple goes Kalon Black. Alex Van Sumeren finally puts a stop on him after a gain of 3.
Cignetti in this Indiana offense, they clearly want to establish the run. They have not run the ball a lot in this game. They have not run it particularly well. But, you know, the best teams can run the ball when they're playing run defense. And I think that's what they're trying to establish right now. They'll continue to throw it, continue to attack through the air, but they want to establish something on the ground. 2nd
down and 7. As the Hoosiers try to extend this lead. He's got some pressure, Fernando does, but he gets it out, and it's a good tackle there in open space on Omar Cooper by Amorian Smith, who kept him short of the sticks.
Again, I would think 4-down territory here, and a great opportunity to establish the line of scrimmage. They're getting on the ball quickly.
Mendoza is 17 of 20. Gets the first down here. Goes Kalon Black.
You'll see teams do that a lot in those short yardage situations. Get on the ball quickly. Maybe if the defense is going to load up to defend the run, even if they have more numbers than you want, maybe they're not ready, they're not in their stance. That was the case there for Indiana. And again, Cignetti's telling these guys, hey, we got to establish this running game. We got to be a tough physical football team. You're going to see more of that here in the second half.
That stoic look on Cignetti's face. He is all business. That's what he's had to do everywhere he's been. Mendoza with a quick strike shows the strength of that arm. He can get it out in a hurry this time to Williams again.
Yeah, what's so impressive about him to me is he doesn't need a lot of space, and he doesn't need a lot in his lower body. He comes out of the fake. This is an RPO, a run-pass option. If he likes what he sees outside to Williams, he's going to give him the ball. So out of the fake, it's almost like he's turning two, playing shortstop or second base. Really, really quick, efficient release.
And he's fine with those underneath throws, right? He's got the patience to not have to take the big home run ball. Reminds you a little bit of the guy you backed up for a few years.
Yeah, no doubt.
Underneath, another good chunk. It's just ruthless efficiency. That was the words that Mendoza told us when he talked about trying to emulate Tom Brady. I mean, it's just crisp.
Yeah, aggressively take what the defense gives you. That's what Troy Aikman used to do for those championship teams in Dallas. And if they give you a chance to throw the ball, I'm going to take it. I'm going to throw it. Okay, if they're saying, hey, run it, I'm going to run it. And over and over and over again, be disciplined enough, mentally tough enough to be a great decision maker in any situation. It's one of Mendoza's strengths.
Mendoza's got 271 yards through the air. That's a season high for Fernando, and he wants more. What a throw to Surratt. 27 yards for the latest touchdown.
That's why it's so important to run the football. You get some isolated coverage outside, and none better than Surratt to win. Excellent release. He keeps the release tight. He gives Mendoza a lot of space to throw the ball. It's essentially a back shoulder throw, and this is it. Aggressively take what they give me. They give me man-to-man coverage with my best guy outside. I'm going to let it rip. They're trying to run Michigan State out of this stadium.
That ball was thrown right in the bucket. Aiden West had no chance there for Surratt, who picks up his second touchdown catch of the game. Then all of a sudden, the Hoosiers are blowing this open a little bit. Showing you how they got to be the third-ranked team in the country. Showing a little bit of why they were in the college football playoff last year before finally being derailed. This year, they won it all, and they're showing us that they've got all the talent in the world to pull it off. Sunday night, it's an NFC collision led by two electrifying playmakers. Bijan Robinson and the Falcons take on Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers in prime time Sunday, 7 Eastern time on NBC and Peacock. State of Indiana being pretty well represented, not only in college football with these Hoosiers, but the Indianapolis Colts up the road, coach, at 5-1, the talk of the NFL as well.
Yeah, Daniel Jones getting it done. They're calling him Indiana Jones. Da, 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 da.
There you go.
Great story.
Fernando's a great story. Mendoza's got 4 touchdown passes in a single game for the 4th time this season. John Fanta, we need a game break. What's going on?
Dan and Jason, Ole Miss is happening, and the Lane train is engineering a special story. Trinidad Chambliss punches this in. Get this, guys. The Rebels have had 5 drives, 5 touchdowns in Athens, trying to win there for the first time since '96.
Thank you, John. Good one going down there between the hedges. Memorial Stadium sellout. There have been 18 sellouts in the history of Indiana football. 8 have come under Curt Cignetti. That's about all you need to know about the impact that he's had on this city, this program, as Michigan State tries to claw their way back in it. It's a good pickup there by Jack Felling, gain of 10.
I like the call. You know, Indiana is really, really hell-bent on not allowing Michigan State to run the football. So try to use that to your advantage. Get it out in space. They got to pick up the pace and tempo here. They're down 25.
Just short of the first down. Now they've got it. That is Omari Kelly picking it up. Flag comes in late.
It's going to be holding.
Holding Offense number 6, 10-yard penalty, second down.
And the wide receiver, Nick Marsh.
He's the point guy right here, and he's out in space for everybody to see. So you love his effort, you love his willingness when the hands get outside, and essentially when he throws him down, that's what's going to invite the flag. He just doesn't need to do that. You love the effort, you love the intensity. Not real smart.
You turn second down and short into second down and 11 now. What a swift moving quarter here. In a game that was delayed just really when you totaled it up just about 20 minutes as it blended into halftime. Childs, nothing going. Flushed out to the left. And now wants to keep it. Trying to pick a hole. We've got more flags on the play.
It's going to be a holding penalty again.
Holding. Offense number 5. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Kai Frazier with another penalty on Michigan State.
This happened earlier in the game when Childs goes left. Pretty easy call again. Frazier gets his hands on the outside. The official is going to call that every time. And you see the pursuit there by Tyreek Tucker, 95. Playmaker inside for Indiana. Both as a run stopper, put a little pressure on the quarterback.
Second down, 21 now. Spartans backing up on this latest drive. And looking for a hole, not much at all for Kai Frazier. Third and long after a gain of 2.
This is tricky. Usually in this situation, you say, hey, be a little careful here. You know, check the ball down. But you get to a point in the game that you might have to make something happen here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take some side of a shot in the middle of the field. They've had some success there early. See if they can catch an in cut and get a little run after catch and make this first down and keep the drive alive.
Deeper drop this time by Childs, and he went for a deep shot. Incomplete. 4th and 18, and a punt coming up for the Spartans.
Really good defense. The safety, Amari Farrell, knocks it away, but it starts up front. You know, there's some pressure in the pocket. You get in these long down and distance situations. It's really hard for these guys to hold up. Fisher's in Childs' face, and then on the back end, excellent play. Getting the hand in there by Farrell and getting off the field.
Testament to Jonathan Smith's offense being able to sustain drives. This is the first punt. We did see a short kick earlier in the game by Childs. Jonathan Brady awaiting the punt by Ryan Eckley. And Brady turns it into a pretty good return up close to midfield. But the Hoosiers have opened up a 25-point lead on Michigan State. Next, it's a college football Peacock exclusive. Penn State and Iowa in prime time only on Peacock. Big news, James Franklin being let go by Penn State. That's where there was a lot of speculation that Curt Cignetti, they might go after him, but he got the big contract this week and pretty much took away all of that speculation. But that is how quickly Cignetti's name has risen in college football. And so the Indiana faithful wanted to make sure that Cignetti was going to remain a Hoosier, so thus the 8-year, $93 million contract for a guy who said, what, 10 years ago he was making about $120,000? Age 64, all of this happening for Cignetti. And that is a nice run there by Hemby. The ball comes loose at the end of the run, but it's ruled down.
Down by rule prior to the ball coming loose. It's second down.
This is the end of the down here. Looks like his back hits before that ball comes out. I'd be surprised if they overturn that. You know, you talk about Cignetti. I walked into the indoor facility. They are going to check it out.
The ruling of the runner down prior to the ball coming loose is under review.
Yeah, you know, you talk to Cignetti, and, you know, he's got this big, huge contract, and you're thinking, all right. You talk to him, you're in there for 30 seconds in the room, and you know nothing's going to change. It's not about the money. It's about the system. It's about doing what he has wanted to do his entire career, and that's be a head coach.
One more lick on Hemby. It looks like he's down before that thing comes out. Reggie, what do you think?
While it does appear that he's down by rule once his back hits, in any case, this ball ends up being recovered or rolling out of bounds. There's not much of a competitive impact. This should be upheld.
So it remains Indiana's ball, 2nd and short. And the Hoosiers pick up the first down with Hemby. Van Sumeren on the stop as we check in with Zora.
Well, Dan, I asked the athletic director here at Indiana about Coach Cignetti's big extension. Scott Dolson told me he wanted Coach to know how committed they were to him and this football team. And you brought up other schools having openings. Dolson said they didn't want any distractions around this team.
It took care of business, and again, it was an extension. He was already making some definitely decent contract, but you get up in the stratosphere of the Penn States and all these big programs that are searching for college coaches, you've got to get into the double digits. I mean, it's as simple as it. You can sell it, and that's what they did. Play action here as Kalon Black running for a gain of about 5, which could be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Indeed, it will be. They're going to the 4th quarter, and the Hoosiers flexing those 3rd-ranked muscles over Michigan State. Came in here trying to snap a 4-game or a 3-game losing streak, but it looks like the Hoosiers are going to take care of business. Up big by 25. Today's aerial coverage has been brought to you by T-Mobile. Overcast skies over Bloomington. We have the weather delay, but really hasn't taken much of the luster off this latest impending Indiana victory, as it appears they're going to win their 13th straight at home. But we've got a 4th quarter to go here to see if the Spartans can mount some sort of rally. But with the way this Hoosier offense has been humming with Mendoza, who already's got 4 touchdown passes, it's a tall task, especially when they're at the Michigan State 36. Little play action. Mendoza just with a perfect pass to Cooper.
How many times have we seen that? Put the ball in, pull it back out, and you see Cooper run up and run out. And, you know, we talk about
receiver downfield, offense number 65. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Carter Smith released a little bit too quick there, Coach.
You know, I walked into the indoor facility yesterday, and there's a big sign that says earned, not given. And I couldn't help but think about that guy right there. You know, longtime assistant in college football, worked a lot of different places, and was at Alabama, receiver coach there. And Nick Saban first went there and made a decision after 4 years that he wanted to be a head coach.
2nd and 11. Mendoza on the money again. And he's got Nowakowski.
Yeah, so he proactively leaves Alabama, national championship team, and says, I want to be a head coach. Goes back to Indiana University of Pennsylvania, where his dad coached a long time ago. Smaller program. He wins there. Then he goes to Elon College. Then he goes to James Madison. Every place he wins, and he wins right away.
Yeah, year 1. I mean, he does it. That's the most incredible, I think, of this latest turnaround, Coach, is it wasn't like, all right, we're going to get some transfers in, and then we're going to start winning, you know, take me a couple years. It's right now, and it's Hemby right now in the loose. Almost broken. Gain of 22 for Roman.
Love the call. It's a screen pass. Kick it wide to him, get a lineman out in front, get Hemby started in this ball game as a receiver. He gets out into open space and makes a big gain, and Indiana's on the ball.
Fernando on the mark again. Not much at all here for Jonathan Brady. In fact, a loss of 2. Dontavius Nash on the coverage.
Again, can't overstate what Cignetti has done here. They've been playing football at Indiana for 127 years. They've had 36 winning seasons. That's 28%. They have not won here ever. And he comes in here in a year and a half for the number 3 ranked team in the country, soon to be number 2 after the Miami loss last night. It's been remarkable.
We asked Cignetti the influences on his coaching career here on 2nd down and 11 as Kobe Martin gets his first carry. He said, no doubt about it, I was influenced by my dad. He said his dad was a quiet, big leader. He coached at IUPU, where you mentioned Kurt got his first chances a lot. You know, you can see the seriousness. He talked about his dad was a very serious guy, but you can also see a little bit of Nick Saban in him.
No doubt.
He coached for Nick Saban. You coached for Nick Saban. And there's a look at Cignetti, Curt Cignetti, the Indiana head coach there, and we've got all the other guys along with him.
Kirby Smart along with Nick Saban, 3 legends.
That's Surratt, who hauls Mendoza's latest catch in. Fernando is just hitting with precision. I mean, he's been so good all year long, but he's now 24-27 for 332 yards.
Yeah, and 4th and 4 right here, and a decision by Cignetti. Kick the field goal. Looks like he's going to take a timeout. No, here he goes. They're back in the huddle. Looks like they're going for it. They do a lot of RPOs, run pass options. Hand it off if you like the look. If not, spit it out. It's a big part of their offense. I can see him using it right here.
Mendoza. Oh, what a precision throw.
I don't think he got the left foot down.
He didn't get it in. E.J. Williams. Boy, was this another beauty by Mendoza.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. It's 1st down, Michigan State.
There's one.
Oh, there it is. It's a catch.
That's one. He's got the ball, doesn't he? Does he have it?
It's a touchdown.
That's got to be a touchdown, right?
The question is, it's the toe into the heel. So if it's considered all one motion, the heel clearly comes down out of bounds. So the toe is down. They're going to call this out because it's one continuous motion. What do you think, Red?
Reggie, you're shaking your head like you agree with Coach.
Toe, heel, the foot is one appendage. When the toe comes down first and subsequently rolls to the heel, that puts him out of bounds.
Yeah,
this is going to be an incomplete pass.
What if he was able to just bounce off the toe and jump out of the end zone?
Yeah, would have been a catch.
Would have been a catch.
It's a game of inches, Hicksy.
Michigan State in the end taking over. So no touchdown catch in the end. Play was upheld. The replay. So Michigan State taking over here. That's what Cignetti thinks about it. 28 unanswered points by the Hoosiers to pull ahead here with 11:20 to go. A lot of those guys had their shirts off earlier in the driving rain that held up play for about 20 minutes or so. Now Michigan State starting deep in its own territory at its own 8-yard line. Childs has been the quarterback throughout. And this one skips in front of Marsh. 2nd down and 10.
You know, Hicks, I worked for Nick Saban for 2 years, and you know, there were sometimes he would get upset about certain things, and I'd be sitting there saying, why is he so mad about this? And then later when I became a head coach, I reflected back and said, that's why. And I asked Cignetti that question. You were ever at a staff meeting and Nick was going nuts about something, you didn't really fully get it, but now you're sitting in your seat as a head coach, started to resonate, and this was the situation he talked about. He said, Nick used to go crazy in the 4th quarter. You know, making sure that the coaches were coaching and the players were playing, because that's really the essence of their entire program. Being your best regardless of what the circumstances are.
Indiana showing some pressure on Childs. He gets rid of it. And the pass complete.
And his point was, you know, I wasn't quite fully understanding why Nick was so mad in those situations, but now you're the head coach, you're in charge of the program, and you're selling this message every day to your team about doesn't matter who we're playing, when we're playing, where we're playing, what the score is, I want your best. And so watch him in the fourth quarter coach this team up 25. Nick Saban did it for years. He's doing the same kind of thing. They're building the same kinds of programs.
You saw that winning percentage. 15th season as a college head coach, 136 and 37. He wins. Google him. As he likes to say, Childs breaking loose for a huge gain, and Childs has a chance to take it all the way. Trying to get away from Sharp, who's not going to let him. But Aiden Childs showing his athletic ability and speed.
And that is not a play that Cignetti is going to like, but this is what Childs can do here. When you run the quarterback, you add an extra guy. Okay, you get a block by the running back. Now, before you know it, Childs is on the safety. 6'3", 225 pounds, and can run. What a threat this guy is. And, you know, you talk about continuing to compete when you're down 25. Give Jonathan Smith's group some credit for continuing to play the right way.
That is a 65-yard run by Aiden Childs, who, again, coming into this game, we didn't know if he was going to go beyond a series or two. But pretty healthy there, all the way down to the Hoosier 20. Got some pressure and just throws it away. Kellen Wyatt was in on him there.
Just look at Childs' numbers. 26 out of 32 for 235. He's rushed for 68 yards. He's been the offense for Michigan State. This is the end of the down. It's a good throwaway. Wyatt hits him right in the rib cage.
Childs, four-star recruit. We mentioned transferring from Oregon State, where he played for Jonathan Smith there. Smith, a good quarterback in his own right. Talk about how Cignetti is kind of a quarterback whisperer. Jonathan Smith has done a nice job with Aiden Childs.
Quarterback play today has been excellent on both sides.
Has it ever. Boy, Childs is starting to feel that pressure now. That Indiana defense getting in his grill. Elijah Hardy got close.
He might get a grounding here.
Intentional grounding, offense number 2. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. It's third down.
Yeah, you have to get outside the pocket, and you have to get the ball across the line of scrimmage if you're not getting it to a receiver. Good pressure up inside, and he's not outside the pocket. There's no viable receiver in the way there, but the Hardy pressure, beating Frazier on the block, caused the penalty.
Yeah, nobody in the zip code of where Childs threw that. There's Aiden Fisher.
Third and extra long here, 21, trying to cut it in half.
Again, Childs flushed out, able to get the completion to McCray. And still that'll bring up fourth down.
Indiana just makes you work for everything. Everything. They're a good tackling team. They make the catch, but there he is, Fisher, going to tackle you.
And is Kellen Wyatt down for Indiana. And while they attend to him, we'll step aside with Indiana up 35-10.
John Fanta checking back in with the game break. Back between the hedges. Georgia finally got a stop, and then Gunnar Stockton to his favorite target today. Lawson Lucky, third touchdown reception for him. Georgia up 5, 7.5 to go. Dan and Jason, there's been 800 yards of offense.
Wow. John, that one looks like it's going down to the wire. Another classic down in Athens. There is Kellen Wyatt, who's just made his way off the field. He's been a heck of a defensive lineman for the Hoosiers. And the offense still on the field on 4th and 13. Down 25, why not?
Looks like pressure.
Coming along, and they get it. That is Stephen Daly. Childs never had a chance.
So here's what Indiana does. They put a lot of guys in the middle of the line of scrimmage to create one-on-ones, and here's Daly by himself. On Connor Moore, this is what they love about him. 273 pounds, and he has juice.
He does.
Haynes, the defensive coordinator, told us he is the best athlete on our defense, maybe in the whole program, for his size, his get-off, his quickness, his bend, all in evidence right there.
Transfer from Kent State.
Pretty impressive.
And that is the second sack for the Indiana defense. 9 minutes left to put away Cignetti's 13th straight victory at home here as head coach. Kalon Black with the carry for 6-0 Indiana, which seems like at this point in the season, Coach, that the Hoosiers are on a collision course of sorts with the Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, there's a lot of football to go, and you don't want to look too far ahead, but you know, when you take a look at the schedules, it seems that is the way things are unfolding.
Yeah, there's no doubt they'll be favored in every game they play coming down the stretch. And you know, this guy, if you ask me, his #1 quality is he finds a way to make sure complacency does not sit in. He had that expression last week, rip off the rearview mirror. We're not looking backwards, we're looking forward.
And you take into account what happened last week, snapping the Ducks' 18-game home winning streak, the first time they'd ever beaten the top 5 opponent on the road. I mean, there were so many reasons why you might come back here, homecoming, be a little flat, be a little full of yourself. But Cignetti, just not going to have any of it.
Yeah, he's on it. You know, they have this expression, humble and hungry, and this is a hungry program. And they play with a chip on their shoulder. They play with an edge, and it all comes from him. The energy of the leader pervades the group, and his DNA is all over this program and how they practice and how they play. So that'll be the big challenge for them going forward, maintaining that same edge.
Fernando Mendoza still in there at quarterback, and 3rd and 1, and he's got to be flushed out, looking to get the first down.
He's right at it. I think they gave it to him.
He took a big dive, got that 6'5" frame reaching out.
He climbs up in the pocket, getting pulled down from behind, and it looks like he does a really good job not letting that knee hit and extending and getting the first down. It's a good spot.
That's Kakai Burnett, who's doing his best to keep Mendoza short.
It's great. It's a great play.
That is 6'5" stretched out for the first down.
You know, we've talked about this a lot with NFL players, Hicksy. You know, quarterbacks, they get to that point in their careers where it's more than just, hey, I'm just going to do my job and make good decisions and all of that. There has to be a leadership component where you will the team. And the way you will the team is making plays like that. We've seen it a lot in the NFL. Justin Herbert is kind of breaking through that ceiling. Mahomes has been doing it for years. And, you know, this guy right here, when you make a play like that, when your strong suit isn't running, but you reach, drive, stretch, compete to keep the drive alive, you know, your teammates see that. You're pulling them with you.
He's got the shirtless guys in the stands chanting Heisman Mendoza.
Yes.
I mean, he's, I don't know.
We heard the ABBA tune earlier, Fernando.
He's an impressive guy, Fernando Mendoza. We talked about him coming over from Cal, right, where he graduated from Cal's Haas School of Business. He commuted to have internships while he was there. He was taking in the full advantage of the wonderful academic facility. Again, originally, he was all set to go to Yale. That was Fernando Mendoza's safety school until a quarterback flipped to UCLA from Cal, and that's the only other Division I school that gave Fernando Mendoza a look.
You know, when it was Bill Musgrave, senior assistant with the Cleveland Browns right now, quarterback coach in the NFL forever, he had been at Cal, and he saw Mendoza and gave him his only offer. When that circumstance happened, they had an opening. He went down across the country, Miami, Florida. Come on out to Cal. Come play for us. And, you know, you think about the twists and turns in life and how these things happen and the decisions people make and how they affect you. Something else. And this guy took advantage of his time at Cal. He's certainly taking advantage of his time here. And you talk to him, he's one of those guys you're betting on in life. You're betting on him as a player, but he'll be successful at whatever he does.
Alberto, younger brother's hoping to get some time here before this one is over. Second down and 7. Kobe Martin in the clear. Huge gain for the redshirt freshman out of Fishers, Indiana.
Every time this guy gets his opportunity, he does something with it. Scored a couple touchdowns early on in the year. Guards get out in front, tackle get out in front. Keep those running backs coming, and this is what Cignetti wants to see. They've moved the ball primarily through the air throughout this game, running the ball much better in the back half. They're going to need this part of their offense going forward.
Yeah, it's not just Hemby and Black. Kobe Martin contributing today as well. Keelan Black now in there. And 1st and 10. Deep inside Michigan State territory. And here goes Black. Just into red zone inside the 20 for a gain of 2.
You know, it's so funny talking to Cignetti, and then you hear him get interviewed before halftime, and they have all these Cignetti-isms that just come out of his mouth. That's how he communicates. And, you know, when you talk to the players, you talk to the coaches, sometimes they get a little chuckle, but you can tell they resonate with them, and they remember them. Fast, physical, relentless. That's how he wants his team to play. And he told us, I came up with that. That's mine. I got a kick out of that. But that's how they play. They're fast, they're physical, they're relentless. Relentless means nonstop. They always have the pedal down.
He's got them all, doesn't he? 2nd down and 7. Just banging away up front. That's Martin again. If you saw the Oregon-Indiana game last week, you also got a glimpse of how physical Indiana can play on both sides of the ball up front.
No doubt. And, you know, you mentioned that game, and you're talking about Mendoza. Maybe the biggest sequence of the year for him and for this team was after he throws the interception last week at Oregon for a touchdown. You know, you throw a boomerang as a quarterback, sometimes that can shake you. He came right back and threw the game-tying and game-winning touchdowns for Indiana. And afterwards, Cignetti said, hey, we don't want you to be like a chandelier where you get dropped and you get shattered all over the place. We want you to bounce right back. And that's what Mendoza has done. That's what this team has done. That's what Cignetti's instilling.
Well, here goes Fernando, showing a little bit of those legs, just sliding and backing down there enough to pick up the 1st down. I thought it was incredible what Cignetti told Mendoza after that pick. He said, you having fun? I mean, the guy just throws a pick.
That's it.
Pick 6. And that is
it's a great reminder.
The latest Cignettiism that certainly seemed to be effective last week as they knocked off one of the big boys on the road of the Oregon Ducks. Two teams, 2 names, 2 programs, USC, Notre Dame. That's about all you need to say. Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time, presented by Discover. Notre Dame football. Coach, we've hung out a little bit there this season as well. What's your feeling about the big game tonight between the Trojans and Irish?
I think the Irish are a better football team than USC, but this rivalry goes back a long, long way. And it's a big night for Notre Dame. They have to win out. I would say the same thing for USC. All eyes on South Bend.
4th and short, less than a yard.
Timeout, Indiana, their first of the half.
Timeout called by the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with Notre Dame. Their quarterback, C.J. Carr. They have 2 big-time runners in Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, and they're big and strong on the offensive line. Some playmakers outside. Their defense has gotten a lot better here the last month or so, and it really seems like USC is starting to find their stride as well. They have a big-time quarterback as well, so that Notre Dame defense is going to be challenged. It's really all about who handles the moment better. Can C.J. Carr, the redshirt freshman, settle in and play the way he's capable of playing? That's a big question. I'd hand the ball to Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price a lot tonight.
Well, if Cignetti and the Hoosiers are able to get back to that college football playoff, they got knocked off by, you know, the big powerhouses last year. Late in the season, Ohio State beat them. The regular season, they got to the playoffs. Notre Dame took them out. And that is the next step for Cignetti and company. Obviously, beating Oregon on the road last week proved that they can do it. But just an incredible run to the playoffs last year in the first 12-team playoff. And now Michigan State calls a timeout after everybody got back to the line.
This is a big 4th down. You know, talking about that, though, after this game, they're going to be the number 2 team in the country. And if they win out, they're going to be the ones hosting these games. The world's coming to Bloomington. And if you look at the schedules between Ohio State and Indiana as you come down the stretch. For Indiana, every one of those games is winnable. Every one of those games, they'll be favored.
Yep, final 6 there for Indiana as you look. Currently unranked opponents, all of them. So both teams seem to have a clear run, but don't you dare tell Curt Cignetti that. It's like the old Nick Saban rat poison, right?
That's it. They're kicking a field goal.
Okay, Niko Radicic coming on.
Cignetti changed his mind. Let's make it 38-10.
31-yarder. Said, all right, we scored all touchdowns. Let's add a field goal by Radicic to ratchet it up to 38-10. Well, Curt Cignetti ripped off the rearview mirror indeed.
Nothing good in life comes easy. What's cheap won't last. What lasts isn't cheap. You're either improving or you're getting worse. You don't want to be like the crystal chandelier. When you drop it, it breaks in a million pieces. You want to be like the rubber ball. It bounces right back into your hand. Not affected by success, not affected by failure. We're in a production-oriented business. What we did yesterday doesn't mean squat.
Now, a lot of these have come natural to Coach Cignetti through the years, but he kind of intimated to us when we talked to him yesterday. He kind of develops a team message. He gets into his office at 5 a.m. and he starts thinking about what's the message this week, this game.
And what I love about it is his thought process is, what does this team need? Okay, we just went to Oregon last week. We beat one of the best teams in the country on the road. What does this team need now to go forward? We talked about rip the rearview mirror off and, you know, stay humble, stay hungry. No complacency, all those things, and he has a lot of different ways to convey these messages. We just scratched the surface. We gave you 4 quotes. There's 400 of them.
Oh yeah,
this is how this guy talks.
It's a treasure chest.
Yeah, but his coaches listen and believe. His players listen and believe, and that's what the magic is.
Well, here is Alessio Milivojevic, who we thought we might see earlier in the game because Childs has not been 100%. But he's a redshirt freshman from Naperville, Illinois, getting another chance. He's spelled Childs more than a couple times this year. In fact, filled in for him last week against the UCLA Bruins. He's got a quick release, a little different changeup of a quarterback than the 6'3" Childs. He's got a pretty quick release that the coaches thought when they were telling us that he might see some action kind of played into this game because he knew that Hoosier defensive pressure was going to come fast and furious. And there it comes. And there goes the release. And there goes Tautoliver.
When you go into the game like this, at the end of a game as a quarterback, you love that call right there. Throw a screen. Let me get the ball out of my hand, get a completion, and get a little sweat rolling here. But that shot that we saw earlier of Aiden Childs on the sidelines, boy, he's got to feel good about his performance today.
Absolutely. Childs was 27 of 33 for 243 yards. That pass complete to Evan Boyd.
And, you know, that sounds ridiculous. Hey, we lost 38-10. How do you feel good about it? But, you know, as a quarterback, he hasn't played great the last couple of weeks. He responded today. He was everything that Michigan State had. And, you know, if you're the Michigan State coach, Jonathan Smith, same thing. You know, this is a really good team they played. He said we can play well and we might get blown out.
Milivojevic with a nice toss there again to Boyd as the rain comes down. Again, there was a delay just after halftime ensued earlier.
A couple of good throws by Milivojevic, but, you know, Jonathan Smith has to feel better about how his team played compared to last week against UCLA. UCLA had won 1 game. They came into East Lansing and got after the Spartans. Different story today. They were toe-to-toe with Indiana for a little while. Eventually, they get blown out, but they're playing a different style than they did last week. Certainly an improved team.
Milivojevic trying to avoid pressure. Does a nice job, but then is it eventually brought down for a loss of 2. You know, another thing about the Cignetti early time here, Coach, is how he's done it. And this is a totally different time for college football, right? This is the NIL era. This is the portal area. But he even admitted to us that this whole transition into big-time college coaching has come at a good time for him because that's what he does so well. As that pass is incomplete into the end zone. He had 30 transfers last season, 23 this year for Cignetti's team. And there are also 28 players in their final year of eligibility for Indiana. So you got to lock and load and reload and keep the system going, even though he wants to eventually wean himself off of that many transfers a year.
Sure, he wants to be a guy who recruits and develops. But in this day and age, when you're trying to transform a program quickly, the approach that he's taken is the right one. You bring some veteran guys in from other schools. You brought a lot of guys from James Madison, guys who he knew, guys who could help him instill the culture here. And he's been masterful, not only being the head coach, but the general manager building these teams.
Blagojevich gets some pressure, but gets rid of it. It's incomplete. Brings up 4th down and 12.
And it becomes a model for other teams and programs across the country. You know, how do you turn it around quickly? And it's not easy to do. And you know, no disrespect to anybody else, but Indiana was not a football program. It's not like they were trying to restore the roar. Let's get Indiana football back. It's never been good. So he's come in here and done something that's never happened here. They had a couple good years under Lee Corso in '79. Had the first bowl win in Indiana history.
I knew you were going to get Lee Corso's name in there.
Yeah, no doubt. But you know, those are the highlights. Babe Laufenberg played for Corso in the early '80s. Another highlight of the program, but not many. I'll tell you what. Cignetti's been incredible. Good job here by Michigan State going down and getting some points at the end of this game.
Connington gets the field goal as the rain is really coming down now. The clock stopped at 33 seconds. Something you don't see often, that quarter zip of Cignetti being covered up.
Yeah, what's he doing?
You know, I think what kind of wraps it all up in the Cignetti way he's done this, he says, I'm the GM and the head coach of this football program. And that's exactly what you have to be in this day and age.
You know what I love that we learned from him? He said, you know, I was a recruiting coordinator on so many staffs through the years, starting in 1993 for about literally 17 years in a row. He was the recruiting coordinator. That's kind of acts like today's general manager in college football. So he said, I was in charge of recruiting guys and evaluating all the different positions. And he said, when I became a head coach, I was so much further along than I would have been. And he said, when I was a young coach, I was always trying to get rid of this. I don't want to be the recruiting coordinator anymore. But he looks back finally at that position because it's helped him as a head coach learn how to build programs, and nobody does it better than this guy.
It's like his dad used to tell him, right? You never want responsibility until you were ready for it.
Yeah.
That's one of his favorite quotes from his dad.
Well, he was not a head coach till he was 50 years old.
Solomon Van Horst just skidding into the wet turf. It's really coming down here at Memorial Stadium as Cignetti will win for the 13th straight time at home.
It's a good story. He's the receiver coach at Alabama and says, hey, I'm betting on myself. I'm taking a pay cut. I want to go be a head coach. And sure enough, 15 years later, on top of the profession, #2 ranked team. And all these guys, you know, we talk about all the players from James Madison coming with him. How about the coaches? That guy right there. Brian Haynes is defensive coordinator, JMU guy. The other side, Mike Shanahan is offensive coordinator, James Madison guy. So he's brought a lot of these guys with him. Tremendous loyalty. He treats his people the right way. Pretty easy to see why he's had so much success.
They're the only guys. I mean, he's brought them along. He's the only coach they've ever coached for. He's brought them along, got them in started. Now he made them both offensive, defensive coordinators. It's the system. It's a family setting for Cignetti. He's a loyal guy, and that is how he operates at Indiana. And this turnaround continues. Jonathan Smith and the Michigan State Spartans lose their 4th in a row after going 3-0. But the Hoosier machine, paced by Fernando Mendoza.
Think about what you just said. The Hoosier machine in football.